This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
OPEC Plus talks on 2024 oil policy are difficult, making a rollover of the previous agreement a possibility rather than deeper production cuts, 4 OPEC Plus sources said on Tuesday. The OPEC Plus group is scheduled to meet online on Thursday to decide oil output levels for 2024, according to a draft agenda seen by Reuters on Monday. A further delay to the meeting is possible, the sources indicated. 2 of the sources said an additional cut, a step that sources have said would be looked at, was not being actively discussed. A severe storm in the Black Sea region has disrupted up to 2 million barrels per day, BPD, of oil exports from Kazakhstan and Russia, according to states officials and port agent data. Oil loadings from Novorossiysk and the Caspian Pipeline Consortium, CPC, terminal in nearby Yuzhno Ozerayevka have been suspended since last week. Kazakhstan's largest oil fields, Tengiz, Kashagan and Karachaganak, are cutting combined daily oil output by 56% from November 27 as the storm disrupts loadings at CPC, the main export terminal for Kazakh oil, the Kazakh Energy Ministry said.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Russia has increased daily crude oil processing by almost 5% in the first 3 weeks of November from October's average level, raising its output of gasoline and diesel, on which an export ban has been lifted, sources told Reuters on Tuesday. Russia, the world's top exporter of seaborne diesel, introduced a ban on fuel exports on September 21 to tackle high domestic prices and shortages. Only 4 ex-Soviet states, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Armenia and Kyrgyzstan, were exempt. The government later eased restrictions to allow the export of diesel by pipeline. Earlier this month it also lifted restrictions on gasoline exports unconditionally and removed some other obstacles to overseas fuel sales. Advocates for the energy transition are concerned ahead of the COP28 summit in Dubai about the high cost of capital available to make change happen, as policymakers ratchet up their rhetoric on the need for tight monetary policy. COP28 is widely expected to focus on climate finance, specifically to build on the G20 nations' commitment to triple renewables deployment to about 11,000 gigawatts by 2030, which will need funds of around $4.5 trillion. I'm very worried, Gauri Singh, Deputy Director General at the International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, told the Reuters Global Markets Forum when asked about the impact of higher interest rates on funding climate initiatives. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Seaborne iron ore prices are set to climb to as much as $150 per ton in the first half of 2024, according to analysts who have lifted their estimates on expectations of increased demand in China after recent stimulus measures. The price outlook compares with earlier estimates of $130 per ton and Monday's level of $135 per ton. It is, however, still far below the record $232.50 a ton reached in May 2021, according to data from consultancy Steelhome. Iron ore has rallied in recent weeks after China's central government unveiled a series of measures to revive its flagging economy, in particular the ailing property market, a key steel consumer. Shanghai nickel prices gained the most in more than 2 months on Tuesday after an industry report raised the prospect of a change in the way top supplier Indonesia prices the metal. The most traded December nickel contract on the Shanghai Futures Exchange rose by as much as 3.8% during daytime trade, the biggest gain since September 4. It closed 3.2% higher at 129,330 yuan, $18,080.53 per metric ton. 3-month nickel on the London Metal Exchange rose by 3.6% in earlier trading and was 2% higher at $16,395 per ton by 0918 GMT. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. Russian wheat production could reach 90 million tons in 2024 in a third straight bumper harvest following a favorable autumn sowing campaign, Agritel said on Tuesday. This estimate for the 2024-25 harvest suggests the record production seen over the past 2 years in Russia is here to stay, Agritel, the agriculture analytics arm of Argus, said. Combined with stocks, the harvest outlook would keep total Russian wheat supply above 100 million tons for a third straight season in 2024-25, it said in a note.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.